learned disconnecting the battery doesn't reset the computer, at least not the way most drivers think it does. For years, we've all been told, just pull the negative terminal, wait a few minutes, and your car's computer resets. I believed it too until I tried it myself. After dozens of battery disconnects, nothing changed. My auto start-stop still didn't work. Hidden codes were still there, and the car kept acting up. That's when I realized this old trick isn't a real reset anymore. In today's video, I'll show you when a battery disconnect still works, when it fails completely, and the proper way mechanics reset modern cars. Stick around because knowing this could save you hundreds of dollars and hours of frustration. And if saving money on car repairs sounds good, make sure to hit that subscribe button. The old advice everyone still believes. Now let's talk about the advice almost every driver has heard. If your car's acting weird, just disconnect the battery and it'll reset the computer. The idea is simple. Pull off the negative terminal, wait a few minutes, and reconnect. For decades, that trick worked fine on older cars because their computers were basic. They didn't hold on to much data, so pulling power would clear out most of the memory. That's why you'll find so many YouTube videos, forum posts, even neighbors swearing by it. And to be fair, it can still work in some cases. But here's the catch. Modern vehicles don't play by those old rules anymore. So before we bust the myth completely, let's look at the few situations where a battery disconnect actually does help. When the battery trick actually helps, here's the truth. Disconnecting the battery isn't totally useless. In fact, there are a few situations where it still does the job. Throttle body relearn. If you've just cleaned your throttle body or replaced it, the ECU may still be stuck on old airflow data. A battery pull can wipe those settings and let the car relearn idle correctly. I've seen cars that were shaking at stoplights calm down instantly after this simple reset. When you swap out spark plugs, air filters, or a mass airflow sensor, the ECU has fuel data stored from before the fix. Pulling the battery clears those short-term trims so the car doesn't keep running rich or lean based on outdated info. Idle and minor adaptations. Sometimes after basic tune-ups, the idle feels rough. A quick disconnect can reset those minor adaptations and smooth things out. So yes, this old school trick still has a place, but only for soft resets like these. You're not really resetting the entire system. You're just clearing the short-term memory. But when it comes to real problems, hidden codes or communication errors, that's where battery disconnect completely fails, and where most drivers get stuck. Why it fails on modern cars? Here's where most drivers get frustrated. You disconnect the battery, reconnect it, and nothing changes. Why? Because modern cars don't just have one brain anymore. Today's vehicles have multiple modules. The ECU for the engine, the TCU for the transmission, the BCM for body electronics, and sometimes dozens of smaller control units. Many of these store information in non-volatile memory, which means it doesn't get erased when you cut power. So what happens? That check engine light might stay off temporarily, but the underlying code is still hiding in the system. Or worse, features like auto start-stop, transmission shift patterns, or adaptive sensors stay locked in error mode until a proper reset is performed. I've seen it firsthand. Cars that felt possessed, throwing random warnings and glitches, but the battery trick did absolutely nothing. The car still carried the same communication errors. That's because these modules need a scanner reset, not just a power cut. So while battery disconnect works for minor relearns, it's not a full reset anymore, and that's where most drivers get misled. But why did this change? Why did battery resets work on older cars but not on today's vehicles? Let's break down what's different now. What changed in today's cars? Back in the 90s and early 2000s, cars had simpler systems. Most control units stored information in volatile memory, which means once the battery was cut, everything cleared. That's why the battery trick became so popular. It worked back then. But as technology advanced, manufacturers started adding non-volatile memory to ECUs and building separate modules for every system. Engine, transmission, ABS, airbags, body control. These modules are designed to retain information even when power is removed. Why? Because cars today rely on complex safety, emission, and performance data that manufacturers don't want erased by a simple battery pull. In other words, the system is built to protect itself and to make sure resets require the right tool. That's why just disconnecting the battery is no longer enough on modern cars. Quick reminder, if this is helping, hit subscribe. I've got more real mechanic tips coming your way. The right way to reset your car. So, what actually works if disconnecting the battery doesn't? The answer is simple. You need a scanner reset. There are two main ways to do this. Number 1, professional shop reset. Mechanics use advanced scan tools that talk directly to every module in your car. They don't just clear codes, they reset communication errors, relearn systems, and resync modules. This is why a shop reset can instantly fix issues like auto start stop or strange transmission behavior. Number 2. DIY scanner tool. The good news is, you don't always need a $5,000 shop scanner. Affordable OBD2 tools, sometimes as cheap as $20, $50, can perform many of the same resets at home. They also let you see hidden trouble codes, monitor live data, and check if your alternator and battery are working correctly. In short, if you really want to reset your car's computer the right way, it's either a proper shop scanner or a reliable OBD2 tool. A battery disconnect just can't do the heavy lifting anymore. Now, let me quickly show you what a good scanner can actually do, and why it's worth keeping one in your toolbox. Proof: what a scanner reveals. Let's say you plug in a basic OBD2 scanner. Right away, it can scan for hidden codes, even the ones that don't trigger a check engine light. That alone can save you hundreds by spotting problems before they snowball. But that's not all. A scanner shows live data. Your RPMs, fuel trims, airflow, oxygen sensor readings, all the stuff mechanics use to diagnose issues. You can even check your battery voltage and alternator health on the spot, so you know if charging issues are behind your car's problems. And here's the best part: with one button, you can clear codes or reset modules properly without guessing. That's something a battery disconnect will never do. For the price of a tank of gas, a scanner can pay for itself the first time you use it. But don't throw away the battery trick just yet. It still has one hidden use most drivers don't know about. Bonus tip: soft versus hard reset. Here's the nuance most people miss. There's a big difference between a soft reset and a hard reset. A soft reset is what you get when you disconnect the battery. It clears out temporary memory, things like throttle position, idle trims, or short-term fuel data, handy for small fixes after basic maintenance. A hard reset, on the other hand, requires a scan. That's what clears communication errors, deep fault codes, and syncs all the car's modules. So, battery disconnects aren't completely useless, but you need to know when you're doing a soft reset versus when you need a full hard reset. That distinction saves drivers a lot of frustration. Now, speaking of frustration, let's run through the most common mistakes drivers make when trying to reset their car the old-fashioned way. The biggest reset mistakes drivers make. Over the years, I've seen drivers repeat the same mistakes when it comes to resets. 1. Relying only on the battery trick, thinking it's a cure-all when modern modules don't clear that way. 2. Ignoring hidden codes because the check engine light isn't on. A scanner often finds problems before the light ever appears. 3. Paying dealers hundreds for a reset that could have been done at home with a $30 tool. Disconnecting too often. Pulling the battery repeatedly can mess with radio presets, window calibrations, and even trigger anti-theft locks. These are the mistakes that waste time, money, and patience. So instead of falling into those traps, here are a few preventive habits that will keep you ahead of the game. Habits to keep your car running right. To avoid those mistakes, here are a few simple habits every driver should adopt. Know when to DIY versus shop reset. Use your scanner for smaller issues, but if modules refuse to sync, that's when a professional reset makes sense. Maintain your battery and alternator. A weak battery or poor charging system often causes false codes and resets in the first place. These small steps keep your car running smoother, save you from surprise repairs, and make sure you're not relying on outdated tricks. So let's wrap this up with the real takeaway, and what you should do instead of wasting time pulling the battery. The bottom line. So here's the bottom line. Disconnecting the battery doesn't truly reset your car's computer. At best, it clears a few temporary settings. But for the real problems, communication errors, hidden codes, advanced modules, you need a proper reset with a scanner or at a shop. Don't waste hours pulling the negative cable and hoping for the best. Now you know the difference between a soft reset and a hard reset, and you know the right way to do it. If saving hundreds on shop bills and keeping your car running smoother sounds good, hit that subscribe button right now. I've got plenty more mechanic secrets coming that'll save you time, money, and frustration on the road. Until next time, take care and drive safe.